Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in the lead up to the Call of Duty Vanguard integration of Warzone and the release of Battlefield 2042, I've found myself playing some other games to mix things up. There's not all that much content to create around Warzone right now that's interesting and unique. The Haunting event ended up actually being a little bit more disappointing than I thought it would be. And well, there's no Battlefield 2042 beta right now, so I'm kind of stuck playing other games. Insurgency Sandstorm has been one of those games on the list that I've been meaning to try. And the other night, I took the opportunity to go ahead and install it, and I'm so happy that I did. I wanted to take this opportunity to briefly share my first full match that I played and talk about some of my initial thoughts of the game. I played a game mode called Push, which reminds me very much of Rush on Battlefield. I believe the map was called Citadel. By the way, I think the Citadel map was pretty good. It seemed awesome from what I played with it. Obviously, I only had the one match of experience, but it seemed pretty well balanced and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Other than the little hallway section that you'll see in the game where there's two doorways that face each other. That seemed a little annoying, but everything else seemed pretty good. But going into this sort of initial impressions video, I did want to give a brief history of me with FPS games. I may have done this in another video before, but just to contextualize everything that I'm going to say, my history with FPS games has mostly been with the arcade-style shooters, things like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Titanfall, maybe a little bit of Halo. I like the Doom games, Shadow Warrior. Back on the PlayStation 2, I really loved a game called Black. For anyone else that's as old as I am to remember that game and have played it back on the PlayStation 2, really loved it. But my interest in the more tactical, hardcore, slower style of shooter is something that's really only developed in the last year or so with things like Escape from Tarkov. And I just wanted to give this perspective of my history so that there's a bit of context around the things that I'm saying. And I'll draw some conclusions between Insurgency and games like Call of Duty and Battlefield throughout this, which I think is pretty important because Insurgency to me actually seems really awesome as a more hardcore tactical game for someone that is maybe interested in dipping their toes in, but doesn't want to do something as hardcore as Tarkov. Like I've mentioned before, Tarkov has a million different mechanics. It's super deep and it honestly comes off as overwhelming. And that's what leads me into one of my big praises of Insurgency. There's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of things to keep in mind, and it does feel like a deep, interesting game, but it doesn't come off as overwhelming to me like Tarkov did. Someone like me with not too much experience in the game, I felt like I could sort of pick it up and play it, not to the degree of success as other people on my team, but I didn't feel immediately useless. I didn't feel like I needed to cower in a corner. Kind of the way my first couple of games of Tarkov went, where I just really didn't feel like I was well versed enough in the game's mechanics to really get out there and be confident, especially because there's the risk associated with losing all your loot. This game obviously has a more traditional squad-based team versus another team multiplayer experience, so there's not that stakes associated with it. One of the other things I really liked as somebody who is jumping in from, the beginning, level 1, is the great immediate amount of customization that there's available to you. There's a lot of aesthetic customization around the character, which I don't really care all that much about. But when you are customizing your guns, you only have access to the one class right away, which has assault rifles. You could choose from a variety of assault rifles, which is awesome, and you can deck them out with attachments immediately. One of my least favorite things about arcade-style shooters like Call of Duty, especially recently, is the grind that you have to do to unlock basic attachments and make the gun more usable and competitive with other players. I loved that I could just jump in with an M4 in this game with a holographic sight and a grip and extended mags and feel competitive. Big plus, I think that was awesome. Also, the audio is amazing in this game, super immersive, really loved it. The in-game chat's cool too. It gives this sort of radio sound effect that at first I didn't realize it was my teammates talking. I thought it was just part of the game. Just makes it a little bit more immersive. That's really awesome. Gunplay and movement's cool. Movement feels weighty but not sluggish. Gunplay has a lot of recoil. It feels like there's a lot more punch to the guns. TTK is fast. Really awesome there. It gives you that tactical feeling. A couple of things that I am not quite as fond of in the game though. The radial compass, as you probably have seen in the gameplay, appears at the bottom of the screen in a circular shape, kind of like an actual circular compass that you would hold in your hand. Honestly, don't like this very much. I would prefer it just be the horizontal style that we see in a game like Warzone, or like in Battlefield 2042 when you would aim down sight in the beta, it would just be the horizontal compass. I wish we had the option to do something like that. I also think the gun customization UI is a little bit clunky. It's just a long list of attachments with the picture of your gun next to it. I honestly think they should just copy Warzone here, and you could just have the sub-menus around where all the attachments go. Yeah, that's kind of my early thoughts of this game. And I want to hear from any of you. Have you had a chance to play Insurgency Sandstorm? If you have, what do you think of it? I personally am really enjoying it, and it might become something that I play more regularly. Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike so I know I need to change something. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.